Welcome back everybody. We're going to do a little bit of a special tutorial this time. It's a conversion project adding a light to a Necron. Now you have to give a little bit of a preamble. This is a model that I painted almost 10 years ago, and so here's the basic model. Painted it with some greens and iridescent sort of blues, but the special thing about it, which I can only show you sort of, is that there's a little light bulb in here with wires kind of going through, fishing through his body, down his leg, and there's a battery hidden in here. So the background story for this is that when Necrons were first released, I think it was in 2002, or at least the plastic ones, GW was giving them away for free for a painting contest, so I went down to my local GW at the time, which was in downtown Toronto, and picked this guy up and decided to do a little bit of a wiring project. So here's kind of showing you what I did. Thankfully I took pictures way back then, and so I've dug them out, and I'm going to try to explain what I did. So first off is I sliced him apart in a couple spots. So right there, just use an X-Acto knife to try to cut it cleanly, and I use a little pin vise to drill a hole straight up his leg, and then straight down this way, and then tried to join it up in the middle here. So the GW drill that you can get, the bit on that might be a little bit big, but if you can find a drill index set, some hobby stores have them, you can get really small drill bits to do this sort of thing. So the GW one might be sufficient, otherwise you can check your local hobby store for something smaller. So then what I did is I fished these wires all the way up through here, and you can see it goes up inside the torso and through the front of the torso and then into the back of the gun, and then I drilled a hole right through here, and that's how I'm going to wire it all up. So I kind of cheated by going across the chest there, and there's the light. So this is a little model railway train light. You could probably get a small LED, but it have to be very tiny. So the model train light is just an incandescent light that's really small. So what I did, so obviously that's where the plastic tube goes for the Gauss blaster, and I'm going to be using this Energizer battery to power it. So there you can see kind of how it's going to work. So up through the leg, into the pelvis, through the backbone, into the chest, into the backside of the arm, and our light. So the idea then is to get this this plastic tube and have that glowing. And so what I did for that is to help it glow a bit better is I drilled progressively smaller holes through it. You might be able to see that in one of my later pictures here. But now what I'm doing is getting ready to put them all together. So keeping these wires as straight as possible. Oh, I should make a note about the wires. They're actually wires from motor windings. So they're covered in a really thin shellac that acts like an insulation. So most little wires have plastic coating on the outside, and that prevents them from short-circuiting when they're close to other wires. These actually just have like a coating of paint or shellac over them that prevent them from short-circuiting. And in order to connect them up, all you do is just scrape the shellac off the ends and you can solder it. So you can get that from ripping apart an old motor sometimes, or otherwise you can buy that at sort of electronics parts store, and it's very cheap. You can get lots of it for very little money. Okay, so we're getting ready to wire, keeping these as straight as possible so that you can pull it all through, get all the slack out at the end is critical. And here we are. So the battery sticks out above the top of the base, so that's why I have all that debris sort of sitting in there. It's just to hide this stuff. And what I did is I have this piece of metal that goes and touches the positive terminal on the battery, and then I have another piece of metal around the outside here that's connected to the negative. And then the idea was underneath I had a little bit of a connection that you could press it and the light would turn on. So now the next picture is unfortunately the only picture that survives of the light actually working. So you can see it's not super bright, but bright enough that you could see that it's pretty neat. And so yeah, like I said, there's how I kind of did a makeshift switch. So the battery would sit in there, the one connection would go there, the other connection goes there, and this here acts as a wire connecting that through there. So And now we're going to look at the finished one. Okay, so in here you can't quite see it, but what I did is I drilled a large diameter hole there, slightly smaller one there, slightly smaller one. And the idea being that it would catch the light as it went and sort of spread it evenly. So all the wires, so the battery is right here, and the wires are coming up through this leg and through this hand, and the light is right there. And just kind of walk you around there. Unfortunately, when I dropped it off at the GW, they weren't able to get the light working as soon as I left, or after I left, they were unable to get the light working, and I haven't been able to get it to work since then. And that was almost 10 years ago. I think it was 2002 is what my pictures say they're from. Anyways, that's the end of it. Hope you enjoyed that. Maybe it'll inspire somebody to do it on their own, this round of Necrons. If you do, post a link, and I'd love to see you again. See you next time, guys.